All right. Good evening. I'm attorney Vince Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. And I'm joined by my two co-hosts this evening, Miss Miss Georgette Truen. How are you, Miss Truen? Okay, good. And I'm joined by my second co-host, Mr. Darren Guy. Mr. Darren, how are you this evening?
I'm good, Mr. Davis. I'm very good. Thank you. Everything's
Okay,
well in Maine, sir.
okay, so we just heard from our producer, Grace, that our guest for this evening is a no-show. Can you believe that?
You know what? You have a good track record, though. You don't get that very often.
Let's do this. Let's take some questions from you and Miss G, and from the
Mhm.
audience if they post in the on the comment section, and I'll try to review something.
All right. I like
You
that.
know, today is called evidence in CPS cases, and there's something that I want to mention about evidence in CPS cases. It actually occurred recently in a court hearing that I was doing. And for a long time, I've been asking my client for the name of a witness so that I could subpoena that witness to have them come to court. And the client never gave it to me, never gave it to me. And today it came time to introduce that a piece of evidence into court that the witness had created. And we couldn't get it into evidence because the witness wasn't there to lay a foundation for the document. And I had a side conference with my client during the middle of the trial. And the client asked me, why can't we submit documents and letters? The social worker does it. Why can't we do it? And I had to explain this reason to her, which I had explained before, but I don't think she believed me. Social workers can use evidence, hearsay evidence in CPS cases by statute. And a piece of paper written by someone is hearsay. Okay. We can't do that. So the client decided on her own that I didn't need to subpoena the witness. I could just introduce the document into evidence. Luckily, the judge wasn't able to finish the case. We ran out of time. And so now I have the opportunity to subpoena the witness into court at the next court hearing, which is like um, maybe a week away, a little bit more than a week away. Now, you would think that the client would give me that information right now
Mm-hmm.
so that
Right.
I can subpoena the person into court. Hasn't happened.
What are they hiding or protecting?
Well, that's interesting that you asked that question because that's what I would think,
Yep.
right? But I'm only the lawyer. I'm the mere attorney.
Mm.
I'm not the client.
So
Does it seem like sometimes my worst enemy is not the social worker
this your own client,
who may want to be, who may have a strategy of their own?
which now conflicts with your 24/7 strategy that you've had to think of and at home and build up and work for over the past months.
Right. So it always surprises me. People call me and they want to hire me because they think I'm experienced and I know what I'm doing. But then when they hire me, it's almost as if, okay, I have the magic name, Vince Davis, but we can do whatever strategy I, as the client, think. We don't need to listen to Vince.
Well, there's a degree, right? As being the attorney and then the client that you're kind of like, okay, you wanted, you
But
let the
Darren,
client talk to you,
yeah,
but you
but
can't be like, I can't listen to everything you say.
Darren, I can't tell you how many times a week I have a conversation with a client, and the client says, I want to do ABC. And I tell the client, no, we should do XYZ. And the client tells me, I don't care, Mr. Davis, we're doing ABC. And then when we do ABC and things
Yeah.
don't turn out the right way,
Right.
oh,
Then
Mr.
you're a
Davis,
jerk.
it's all your fault, Mr. Davis.
Right.
It's all your fault.
That's
You know,
damned if
I,
you do, damned if you don't.
yeah. Hey, you know what? I saw something on the internet the other day, and it was a prospective client from years ago, basically bad mouthing me.
Oh, very nice.
And the person never was a client. I refused to take the case.
Hmm.
Okay. And I think ever since then, and this is years ago, the client has been bad mouthing me because I wouldn't take the case. And the person was bad mouthing me as if we were her attorneys,
Right.
and we never were.
Wow.
So
People are strange.
yeah, I get all kinds. I get all kinds of calls. Oh, look what Maria says.
Yeah, that's funny. Tell them it ain't Burger King. Get it their way. That's funny.
But Maria, when you're paying me, you feel that you should get it your way.
Mhm.
And it's hard to tell people, hey, what you believe about the law is not accurate.
Have you ever had to drop a client because they've insisted so much that you were just like, this is so absurd, I'm not going to do this, so I'm going to turn my back on this?
I've had to what they call declare a conflict of interest.
Okay.
And sometimes it happens when we're in the middle of a trial. It's a rare occasion, to be honest with you. It's rare, but sometimes the client will tell me, "Hey, I want to do blah blah blah," and sometimes blah 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 might be illegal,
Right.
right?
So you want no blah, blah, blah.
Right. And that ensues an argument, and I've had in the past have had clients tell me, I don't want you as my lawyer unless you're going to do blah blah blah.
What's the craziest blah, blah, blah you've ever been asked?
Present evidence that is false.
Ooh. Now that comes into I wanted to say morals, but that's not the word I'm trying to look for. Ethical issue, obviously. And
Well,
I believe that.
it's more than an ethical issue. It's a legal issue.
Right.
It's
Well,
a
that's what I was going to say. So
criminal issue.
because you have a couple different, it's almost a paradox you would have to look at. So if I said, Mr. Davis, say my mom went to the store today and she didn't go to the store, but you could now be in trouble legally for lying on the stand. You
Oh,
could
absolutely,
get
absolutely,
disbarred, right, for lying on the
absolutely.
stand. So you have multiple penalties for making that decision that someone might think is not even remotely, like it's no big deal to say my mom went to the store, but in reality, your whole livelihood is based on this, or it would be destroyed by this little lie that you would be telling in the office.
Right. Here's another conflict, and you hear this one at law school. Let's say you've told me, Darren, the story was ABC.
Mm-hmm.
But during the trial, you come to me and say, hey, I'm not going to say ABC. I'm going to say XYZ.
Right.
Okay. Which is not true. Okay. I'm supposed to declare a conflict of interest right there in the middle of trial.
Oh,
I can't
really?
tell the judge why, but a lot of judges, I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd be able to guess.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's crazy.
So, I mean, sometimes lawyers are put in a difficult position because the client thinks that, this is the only one they can win. And yesterday I was telling a client, by the way, I'm in the middle of a case, and the client wanted me to tell her how she should answer certain questions. And my response to the client was, hey, just tell the truth.
Right.
And her response was, well, what if that hurts me? I said, you have to tell the truth no matter what.
Right.
You know, I went to the Jerry Spence. I was just watching something on ESPN. I went to the Jerry Spence Trial Lawyers College. And one thing that Jerry said, and I'll never forget this, he said, there is no case that doesn't have a chink in the armor.
Right.
As a matter of fact, there's many cases that don't have chinks, plural, in the armor. And he said, but the same thing is true for the other side, not just you. So the government's case have chinks in the armor, but so will your case. But what he said, and this blows people's mind when I tell them this. Take that weakness, put your arms around it, and love it to death.
That's nice.
That's what Jerry says. Now, arguably, he's the greatest trial lawyer of all time in our country.
Hmm.
And to be honest with you, I think judges appreciate when you are honest and even say things that wouldn't normally help you.
Well,
Right?
I mean, at the end of the day, as much as we banter and bark about them, they are still human beings. And somewhere in that dark robe and flesh and all of that, there is a thing that they call a heart that beats just like all of us have. And, they still are, to a degree, human beings. So, like they respect, and, and those, I would think. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know that many judges, but I mean, that's what everybody forgets too here. Like, you might be Mr. Vincent Davis, big bad CPS man, but you still are a human being with a life. And, I don't know how much of a life you have, but you do have, out of, being Mr. Davis lawyer. I mean, your conversations that you have with people, I mean, you must be like in a little tiny box of socializing with people. Because whenever anybody sees you, like, hey, Vince, about the CPS case, like how often do you get asked a question about like, how about those Patriots, or for you, San Diego or whatever, like
Right. Right.
that's got to be and the same with a judge, like really, when was the last time you had just over a beer or whatever, had a throwback conversation of shooting the breeze about golf or something?
Right. Doesn't
No, I'm
happen.
asking you. See, you
Doesn't
can't
happen.
even answer it. You just thought that was a,
No,
a
it doesn't happen.
rhetorical question, but I'm really asking you, when was the last time that you sat down with someone and didn't talk law, didn't talk shop, and just,
Doesn't happen.
right?
Doesn't happen.
And that stinks. Like
Hey,
that
hey,
stinks.
Mandy, you can post a question if you want on the comment section, and we'll try to answer it. Yeah, Darren, it doesn't happen. Doesn't
I mean,
happen.
I get that for being good looking, so I understand the.
Right.
I
Right.
understand how that works.
I understand. Hey, Miss G. Miss G, can you
Oh,
hear me?
I exist. You guys remember now? Okay, what's up?
Well, when you
How can I help
disappear
you?
off the stream and then come back, we're not sure where
What
you
is
are.
she's making something over there? I bet it's a love letter for me.
No, she's texting.
Oh,
No,
she's
I'm not
texting.
texting. I'm checking the speed of my Wi-Fi.
Oh, how much speed do you
Oh,
get? How much do you get out there?
I don't know. It's not showing me any speed right now for some reason. It's not going through. And I am trying to find out why am I freezing on you guys or
no,
You look good.
not at
One,
all.
thank you.
Your
nice,
picture
happy.
your picture is very clear, and you're not.
I wasn't freezing on you guys earlier and I didn't go off and on.
Mm-mm. Well, you were gone. You definitely disappeared, but you weren't frozen or stuck or anything. You just were
Oh,
gone.
Okay,
okay,
here's a
now
question. Here's a question from YouTube from Mandy. Mandy says I guess we have a CPS investigation that has been ongoing for almost 90 days. 45 is the limit unless you tell the family a good reason did not happen. She called the person who filed the case to ask if they.
Dun dun dun. Oh, I have that sound effect. I could have done it.
What do you have? Did you set up sound effects?
Yeah, I got one of those. Let's see.
What device are you using?
This is a VTech, like a little VTech sound card board. It's pretty cool. I'm getting used to it. It's kind of, it's. I saw it. I just figured I had to have it.
Hey, Mandy, if you finish your question, I'll answer it.
I have some good ones for you. We can wait for Mandy, I guess, while she's.
Oh,
How many sounds do you have?
There's like 20 on this thing, 25. I mean,
Wow.
it's just a little board. I don't know if I can lift it up so you see. I mean, it's just a little box, about this big, and it's
Hey,
got microphones.
send me the link. I may need to get that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was $20. It's perfect. It's great.
Susan says, does full discovery for jurisdiction include all the way back to detention or just from the disposition to jurisdiction? Suzanne, that you've got the question a little mixed up. If you're at the jurisdiction, it goes, in California at least, it goes detention hearing, jurisdictional hearing, dispositional hearing. And sometimes, a lot of cases now in most counties, they do the jurisdictional and dispositional hearing together. So you want to get the discovery going all the way back, not only to the detention hearing, but all the way back to the investigation of your case. You may learn a lot from that discovery, including their theory and or, exculpatory information that they forgot to put in the social worker report and tell the judge. Okay, here it looks like Mandy's got a lot of things.
Whoa.
Hey, Mandy, you got a lot of things going on there, girl. Why don't you email our producer, Grace, Grace,
Oh, yeah.
at vincentwdavis.com, and she'll provide you with a link and bring you on the show right now, and we can answer your questions. You've got about a 4 or 5 box question, and it might be too much for me to handle just trying to answer, just on the stream.
Yeah. Hey, it's got a Miss G button on it. I just noticed.
What?
When she's using when her extra spare words come out, it's the.
Hey.
I can bleep out the swears.
Hey, you know what? That's worth the $20 all by
itself. So, hey, Mr. Davis, how about
this?
I
can't cuss anyone anymore.
I don't even know if my finger would go fast enough for her. How do you feel about? So I spoke with a gentleman today. He's not a lawyer. He's not. He's just trying to fight the fight and get through things like the bulk of us are. Now, he brought to my attention, he said, everybody's in the courts and they're filing motions and motions and motions, and they're getting hung up. How do you feel about filing an affidavit or an affidavit of truth that I might be wrong in this a little bit, so you might have to correct me if I'm wrong. But what he was saying is this. He was like, look, dude, he's like, if you filled out an affidavit of truth and you sent it to, let's say, the sheriff's department, and you sent it to the CPS agent, and you sent it to the judge, and you sent them all out, they have so much time to respond to these. Now, chances are good, like he said, they're going to get all hot and bothered and say, whoa, what's going on? They're going to miss, hopefully, the deadline. Now you have a true statement, whatever you've put in that affidavit, right? Like that's now stating that. So if you told the sheriff, listen, I think Child Protective Services has kidnapped my child, and you gave them the reasons why, and so on and so forth, and you sent the affidavit to him, and the sheriff does not respond to you in 14 days. Well, is it true now that you would have a truthful document that is undisputable in your corner to be able to say, okay, now we can show that the sheriff is either not doing his job and not upholding his position constitutionally, because now we have a truth document that says CPS did kidnap a kid. They're not denying it. They didn't argue it. So where do we go from here? I'm probably in a little bit roundabout way of how our conversation went, but that's the gist of it.
Okay, so I'm trying to say this nicely.
Mm-hmm.
You're way out in left field.
Okay.
You're not even in left field. You're in the parking lot.
Oh, cool. At least I can get a beer there. But
You know, I want to tell you something.
yeah.
Something similar to that actually happened. And Miss G, I don't know if you remember this. A guy calls me up and he says, "Look, I want to hire you to represent me in my CPS trial."
Mhm.
Okay, great. He signs all the paperwork, he hires me, and then he says, "Hey, I got this off the internet. This, what do they call, federal common law defense.
Right.
And I want you to use it, and here it is." And I said, "Well, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to use it. You want me to represent you? I'll do it." And he says, "No, Mr. Davis." He says, "I paid $49.95 on the internet for this, and this is guaranteed for you to win." And I told him, "No, this is not, it's a scam." He got mad at me and he says, "Well, look, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to fire you. Give me your full refund." I said, "Okay, no problem."
Right.
Oh yeah, I know. Okay, go ahead. I know who that is.
About 6 weeks later, he calls me up or he texts me. He says, "Hey, Mr. Davis, I want to talk to you." Okay, I want to talk to you. And I call him up and he says, "Look," he goes, "I apologize. I thought I was going to win with my $49 internet federal common law defenses." And he says, "I just got laughed out of the courtroom."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Yeah, I was trying to tell you." He says, "But the guy guaranteed me on the internet." One of the things that people don't understand is the federal law and the state laws, they're all statutory, meaning they're written down as laws. Common law is something that rarely exists anymore. Common law has been supplanted or replaced by statutory law. Okay. So there is no real common law. And if somebody tells you you can win your CPS case using federal common law, you should immediately
Run.
run the other direction.
Right.
Okay. Because they're about to take you down a really bad road.
Right.
Okay. Look, if there was some federal common law that you could use in a CPS case, I'd tell you, and I'd be using it.
Right.
But after 37 years as a lawyer, and I think 34 years of doing CPS cases, I can tell you that I'm not aware of any that will help you in a CPS case.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody wants to come on the show and debate me about this or discuss this,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy to have them on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, agreed. Like I said, we were just conversating about this, and I told him that I would bring it up to you and see what you thought about it, because he was like, no one ever goes this route,
Right.
like
Right. Because you might as well, cut cards.
right. And that's the other thing about the common law thing. I feel so bad because I watch these people. Of course, I'm not a lawyer. I'm new to this. I've been only in this stuff for a couple of years, and I get these people get so confused trying to come, like the Supreme Court, the constitutions, the law of the land, and this and that. And what's the basic way to explain to these people, like, excuse me, we're not using the Constitution. We're not using this here. We're not using
Well, the
common law.
here's the thing. The Constitution applies. Constitution is not common law. You understand? It's a written law.
Right.
The problem is that a lot of people think that your constitutional rights as a criminal defendant apply in a CPS case, and they don't.
Okay.
Right? So, for example, here in California, hearsay is legal when used by CPS to take your child away.
Right.
Okay? It's legal. Now, why the Supreme Court of California has made that rule? There are many different reasons why they've made the rule. I don't agree with them,
Right.
but I don't make the law.
Right.
Right? I just figure out how to use the law to try to win the case.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you want to change the law, what do?
you go in and get some legislation, vote, do whatever you've got to do. Right. We're voting here. We're on the vote program.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
But, you know, people tell me all the time, well, Mr. Davis, if they can do it, why can't we do it? It's not fair. That can't be the law. I'm not going to lie to you.
right.
Okay. It is the law, as unfair as it seems.
No, might as well just talk about this while we're waiting. Where did the confusion come when you got common law and you've got maritime law and then you have commerce law and you have all of these different, it seems like, because then you have the people that are like, hey, there's been no real court since 1934, since they got bankrupted. There's no real judges. The bar associations from, over in London, these people are, they're terrorists or they're tyranny. I mean, and all of this stuff, you can definitely go and look and you can see things and you can read about them and they will say that it is, or, but I don't really even trust anything I even read anymore unless I find 3 or 4 different versions of it, because everybody now can put a publishing out and it is what it is. So
Hey,
where
let me
did
ask you
all
something.
of this mass confusion of the law and everything come from?
Oh, just people writing stuff on. Listen, do you believe everything you see on the internet?
No, and that's what I was just saying. I double, triple check things before I even talk about it anywhere.
Well, here's the problem.
I hear so many
Whatever
people have found this come out.
What I think is happening is people are becoming so desperate because of the way the law actually is, and they're looking for something, that magic bullet.
Yeah.
It's like losing weight. If there was a pill we could take to lose that extra 50 pounds, we'd do it.
Right. I mean, except for this, people are desperate for their kids. Like that's.
Right.
I mean, it's.
But it's kind of the same thing.
Right.
We're
No,
looking for
understood. Right.
that magic bullet that nobody has thought about. But
Right.
and I know that in order to lose weight, you're going to have to stop eating as many calories
There you go.
and
Exercise.
start moving your body.
Right.
If there was a pill we could take,
we'd all take it
to lose weight, we'd all be on it.
Right.
Now, do you ever see magic weight loss pills being sold online?
Do you know how many
Every
bottles
day.
of magic weight loss pills I have?
Yeah, every day. Right? So people are selling, and you and I are looking for that magic pill to lose that last 50 pounds. And we buy it.
Right.
Have I ever bought it? Yeah, I have.
Right.
Although I
one day, I'm like, man, I look good.
I know it's not going to work, but I'm like, oh,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah. And my
this is
excuse is
some
always like,
new
man, if I would have just kept
new-
taking those for 20 days, it would have worked.
So
the bottom line to this is
we're all
just
guilty of it. It's just
Right.
that in CPS cases, people have developed the magic pill, federal common law, and they're selling it to you for $49.95.
Right. No, absolutely. But is it anything that's foreseeable that this testing the waters with all these different components, that there is a magic pill that like no one is invested in? Or is it
No.
just like, look, dude, this is it right here. The only way it's going to happen is this.
Here's the magic pill, the only magic pill there is, and that is organizing the vote and changing the laws.
Right.
And voting in new judges. That's the magic pill. But that's too hard. That's too hard to do.
Well, there's nothing too hard for your kid,
Right. But
so if those people think it's too difficult, then they should be falling off anyway. Because at the end of the day, it's your child. That's just the thing too. But I mean, it's just I don't want to crush anybody that's listening to the show or not, but I definitely want people invest so much time. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of them. I want that secret antidote and remedy. Hopefully I can pull something up and hope that it will save everybody's kids. But it's 2 years of doing this and 30 something years of doing what you do. You know what I mean? So there's 39 years together or whatever that we don't have a magic pill. and all I've tried to do is get a magic pill.
Hey, Darren, I want to tell you something. And I'm going to tell you this not to embarrass Miss G.
Mhm.
But I met Miss G many years ago. When she and her aunt came to see me about a CPS case. They couldn't believe the unfairness that was happening in the courtroom. And they were looking for...
She wasn't my aunt. She was his aunt.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
They were looking for that magic pill. It doesn't exist. And there were a lot of extenuating circumstances in her case that most people don't have. But there is no magic pill.
Mm.
And I dare say, that it was a very costly, emotionally costly lesson for Miss G.
Mhm.
Because she couldn't accept the fact
Right.
that these
Understood.
things happen to people in this
Right.
country.
Mhm. No, I mean, that's where I'm at. Absolutely. And then that's where the bulk of these parents are at. Like, I'm not, the way I see it is, as long as I'm breathing and as long as my daughter's not here with me, I'm going to do everything possible. I'll go do what this, that, or the other. It doesn't matter what I have to do. She deserves me to fight for her till my last breath or till the day she's 18 and can reunite. That's my mentality, and that's what I'll do. And that's my commitment to her.
Okay,
and
well,
it's very hard, like, to have someone just be like, no, like you don't want that, to accept that,
right. But let me tell you this. As much as you want it, in my humble opinion, you're spinning your wheels. You're like that hamster.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Agreed.
You're going 100
100%.
miles an hour and you're not going anyplace.
Right.
And you're not going to go anyplace.
Mhm.
Now, there is a solution. There is a
Vote.
solution.
Legislation, vote, do what we're going to do.
There you go. You got it.
Right.
You got it.
Yeah, no, I've been working that angle too. I wrote that bill. I did all of these things. I've done these things. I'm just saying that the majority of these people out there are like me, and they're all trying to, race to get to something. And I just wanted to hear it from someone that of stature of you, that, this way I can go back and be like, okay, I'm not going to break anybody's hope, because if you take hope away from them, that's all that some of these people even have left in their life. Now, I'm not saying that I would lead them on, but I can fairly say now in a discussion with someone that, look, I spoke with Mr. Davis about this, and, like, you are the Mr. Davis. So, like, you can be the end all of end alls, like you can end that conversation.
Okay, I've just added True Crime Blonde to the stream.
All right.
Also known as Mandy.
Hi, thank you for taking me.
Sparks.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I was having trouble getting connected.
Do we get to see video or just hear the sound?
I'm on an old phone, so just sound.
Okay. All right.
But I appreciate you taking me.
Sure. So, Mandy, why don't you tell us what's going on? Give me a little background. First of all, ask me the question you want to ask me, and then give me a little background. Don't give me the background first.
Okay. The question is, if we have made it clear to the CPS worker that we do not want to deal with them, that they are the problem, and we've made it clear to multiple workers, and they're still contacting us, is that a form of harassment? I mean, is there anything that we can do in that situation?
Has a court case started?
No. And I don't believe that anything could be actionable in court.
Okay. So, assuming that you're in California, because that's where I'm licensed.
I'm in North Carolina, but
well, if you were, I'm not licensed in North Carolina, although I did do a CPS case right towards the end of COVID in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
But if you were in California, there's nothing that they can do. But they're going to argue, if they file a case against you in retaliation, that one of the things that you did or didn't do was you didn't cooperate. Not that theoretically means anything. I've told people before, oh, your client's not cooperating. And what's your point? Because
Yeah.
my client doesn't have the burden of proof. You have the burden of proof. And please please don't expect my client to help you prove your case. Because what's going to happen inevitably is that if you do talk to them, they will probably misquote you or just straight out lie about what you said. And then you're really screwed.
There's
Yeah.
no probably. They do. They actually do that.
And what's going on is we've been being harassed by my sister for 2 years. She's filed a unfounded fraudulent case against us in the past, and she did it again. And there's been so many lines that have been stepped over in this case. I know that we've told the worker that we're being harassed, that, this is a documented thing. We had a police report. And she called my sister to see if she needed any more help after telling us, I'm going to close the case. And then for the last 3 weeks, she's been threatening us and sending us texts. I'm opening a case. I'm opening a case. Well, we told her, don't come back. We're not going to comply with you. No, because she wants to open a case because they would like me to get my daughter reevaluated. And I homeschooled my daughter this year, and we had messed some things up in the documentation. But she's still within the legal compulsory age for school. So I don't see what grounds they have at all. Like I found law that can refute, like our North Carolina state laws that can refute what they're basically saying to us. We had 2 safety plans that were completely blank. And then when we basically told her we're not complying with you, you scare our child, which is true. She filled out a safety plan, and the only thing marked on it is that my husband wasn't cooperative. But someone else came out and we cooperated with them.
How old is your child?
7.
What county are you in?
Buncombe.
Okay. What county is Greensboro in?
That's far for me. I'm not sure what the county
Hey,
is.
Alexa, what county is Greensboro, North Carolina in?
Greensboro, North Carolina is located in Guilford County.
Okay. That's where I was.
Oh, nice.
And, I hate to say this, but CPS is the same all over the country. I think they all share information. They all have associations. They all work from the same playbook. They got this whole thing down to a science.
Yeah.
But what I would do if I were you, Mandy, is I'd find a local attorney who has experience in CPS laws and courts and go talk to him or her and, follow their advice if it makes sense to you.
Okay. My husband and I were confused as to whether we should go to like a family court attorney or if we should go to like a ACLU lawyer. We weren't sure which one it would fall.
Neither. Miss G?
Okay.
Miss G is going to tell you about what to do.
Yeah, you need to look for a juvenile dependency attorney that understands juvenile laws, meaning understands juvenile jurisdiction laws and county laws and all that. That's very important. Family law attorneys usually take a very small retainer, like 2,500 or 3,500, and then they don't help you with the case. They don't know what to do. They have no idea what to do.
Okay, perfect. So a juvenile dependency lawyer. So I'll look at that up tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Hey, Mandy, one last thing.
Yes, Mr. Davis?
If you need open heart surgery, are you going to go to a cardiologist or a podiatrist?
A cardiologist.
Why? They're both doctors.
Well, because one works on feet and one works on hearts.
There you go.
You're so cute.
You've answered your own question, haven't you?
Yes.
Lawyers are the same as doctors.
She's so adorable.
Some of us do CPS cases. Some of us don't do CPS cases. All right?
Well, I appreciate your help. I've been watching your channel all week trying to figure this out, and I really appreciate you guys bringing me on.
I've noticed you've been watching on YouTube, huh? Have you liked and subscribed to my channel?
I sure have.
Good girl.
Can we give her a book? Can we give her a book?
Yeah, Miss G, can you email Mandy one of my books?
Yeah,
Oh,
Mandy, why
thank
don't you
you.
just text me your info, and I'll send you a hard copy as well. Okay.
Mandy,
Okay,
right?
sure. You want me to send it to your email?
No,
Um,
look at Miss G's name under her nose. It says
Oh,
Miss
the number.
G.
I see it.
Text her to that number.
Okay, great. Thank you guys
actually,
so much.
wait. Oh, was it
Uh,
Mandy?
uh, 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 uh,
Yes, ma'am.
Mandy, I'm gonna give you my cell number as well. Okay.
Okay. 1 second. Let me grab a pen.
She's available 24/8.
There is no 8, but
366 days a year.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is that number, Misty?
it's 310
Uh-huh.
462
Uh-huh.
5062.
Okay, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all your help.
All
You're
righty,
very
Mandy. Bye-bye.
You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.
welcome. That's really cool. I like that. I like that we are able to get somebody in right away. We don't have to see the video of their faces, but just for them to ask the questions, I think that's awesome. And we should do that throughout the show. Actually, people
Okay.
should. I'm
Unfortunately,
sorry.
we're coming
I
to the
shouldn't
end
be
of the
talking
show.
because every time I talk, it's the end of the show. Okay. Alrighty then. Have a good day, Mr. Davis.
Did you or Darren have any questions or comments for me?
No, I think you pretty much just slammed my hope shut. Thanks a lot, Mr. Davis.
Well, let's look at it as if you are now more enlightened and you can focus on what you need to do.
I need to make some legislation. I got my 5 people that have been passed along, and they're going to be getting a hold of Grace. So I've accomplished that goal.
There's a guy.
I thought we were over. I thought the end is. Oh, it's not the end of the show yet. Okay, because Davis is talking.
Yeah, it's my show. Darren, there's a guy who is in Minnesota. He's African American and he's a father.
That's the family preservation guy, right?
I think so.
Yes.
But one of the things that he's been focusing on is legislation.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows that's the way.
Mm-hmm.
That is the way. All right, folks. I want to thank everyone for watching today. And thank you, Miss G, wherever you are in the internet. And thank you, Mr. Darren Guai, for being
Yes,
co-host tonight. And we'll see everyone tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, yeah. We're doing, what is today's? Today Thursday or Friday?
Today's Wednesday.
That was close. Cool. So are we this time or 9:30, or are we going to do?
No, I think it's going to be 7 p.m. tomorrow.
So 7. That's.
And if it's not, Grace will let everyone know.
Did you see I had the flag up today for Flag Day?
I love that as a background.
Yeah, it's better than the shower curtain.
Very nice.
Right,
Very nice.
I'll send you the link too for the VTech soundboard because you'll really love it.
All right. Good night, all.